worn and beaten.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, alright?
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never. No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game.
See? Your munching and complaining have ruined my concentration.
Ah, mon Dieu. The pain in my back is unbearable. I can't even say if it's in my back or hip anymore. Feels like it's in both.
I hope you pass out from it, you goddamn jellyfish. Men like you are the reason this nation is sinking.
Trying to throw something as close to a predetermined point as possible. Measuring. This must be the age-old game of petanque. Shush. Ignore them. They don't know what they're doing. They're old. You are letting down yourself and the team. Get in the damn game already. Doesn't matter what team. Pick a team. Any team. The blue team. You're letting them down. Get in the game and throw the goddamn ball. Eyes on the ball, Dinky Winky.
Sure, officer. I am René Arnoux, and my specially abled partner here is Gaston Martin. How can we help you? Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement, but this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the union is the law, so can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
If I knew, I would not be afraid to tell you. I simply don't. I'm an old man, not a coward. The daily business of the riffraff no longer concerns me.
'Tis true, sire. He knows nothing.
Yes. The terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. I do. Fire from heavy artillery. Why what? Because that's what happens when communards hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris, and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Don't get me wrong, officer. I hate those foreign dogs, but the enemy of my enemy and all that. They're the lesser evil. Damn right, son. They lit the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the Coalition, Revachol, whoever you wanna blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players on the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
I'm sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frisel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. Damn Frisel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frisel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
Some manner of self-deceit is present in his thinking. Sounds like this Guillaume abandoned him, and he doesn't want to admit it.
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire. It's a Belle McGrave, 4.46 caliber, breech loading, Revachol made. Good weapon, accurate and reliable. This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I understand. Unfortunately, I don't know what else to tell you. These BMs are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
All you observe is a veteran.
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabineers in service of Frisel I. Guillaume le Lion, and the valiant King Philip V before him.
Don't you mean Fristel the Fan?
You do not speak his name, Craven, although he was a clown. But he was our clown, ours to ridicule and to mourn.
There's something you missed. You will get to it. Don't worry.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, but that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry, and I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the ghost caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
He means caviar socialists.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here.
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Evrard Claire. Everyone in Martinez knows the Claire brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history, only heard about it years later when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. There he stands, proud, rigid and alone, like a cracking marble statue.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Lest we leave riddled with bullet holes. This animosity is ancient.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debardeurs all know me. Oh, yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
So that's what it was before. Him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union, and now the illusion is disintegrating before your and René's eyes. He doesn't know anything, because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavane. Turns the way the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate the socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence. Never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Evrard and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not really something I involve myself in, officer. Officer, I have a vivid imagination. And like I said, I have a way with words. That's enough. No need to sink into politics.
He just fluffs it up.
Of course. Don't sink into anything. Don't sink into any fight. Only sink into your couch.
I prefer highly adaptable myself. Has a better ring to it, don't you think?
Mon Dieu.
I don't even consider myself a I believe everyone has the right to think and do whatever they want, even if it's nothing at all. I'm very adaptable.
Mon Dieu.
I don't even consider myself just easier that way. Besides, life isn't as black and white as René's of the world tried to make it seem. It's all shades of gray, really.
Mon Dieu.
No, thank you. For being consummate, oh, the goal is to throw your bull. As close to the cochonnet as you can. That's the cochonnet. Well, first, you draw a circle about a half a meter in diameter. We made ours out of rope. Then, the order of play is determined by a coin toss. You win it. You get to throw the cochonnet. Then, the players aim to throw their bulls as close to the cochonnet as possible. They must stay in the circle and keep both feet planted. I could, but I'd rather not. I don't want to take up your time with trivial details, officer. You'll put that knowledge to good use in 50 years. I'm sure of that, officer.
I don't like where this is going, officer. Don't you think we should do something else now? Hurry up then.
I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things. Fuck off! It's mine! Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? You're a special kind of vermin, Gaston.
A man so principled about his sandwich calls for a principled approach. Time to get too late. Daddy's already fighting the bad fight. Make it stick. Say one of these fascist or communist things or fuck off. Whoa, easy there, Goldmouth. He doesn't have to say anything. Re-engage cop mode and bail out, if you like.
All right. Let's hear them, officer.
Whoa, what have we here? A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
True, they never cleaned up the war damage. The rest of Revachol looks better, though. The bridge is fine enough. Locals use it all the time, after all. It's nothing to worry about. Shall we?
Wow, so someone's been a little boring. Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown. Of course you do. Let's get right to it. My lord's copper type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax. Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class even, a nation of regular law officials that you belong to. It comes, of course, with the usual benefits. Good, of course. To outright declare yourself something does seem a bit too interesting now, doesn't it? I won't trouble you any further.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue d'Espérance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you pigs.
A brush, an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism. The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Revachol. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so... This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a world-sized invitation. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
She means the opposite.
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, alright, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time! No, that's all the snitching Cindy the Skull does for today. Actually, I don't even know why I told you what I just told you. I have a weakness for animals. It's the animal thing again. Damn it.
Or a weakness for police officers, miss. Thank you either way.
Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. Why, yes, tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible, within reason. Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a scythe of booze precedes you, your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor. Poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... Shame? You haven't really been in the presence of gentlefolk either, have you? What shame is there to be felt in front of these dock workers, cops, and hotel clerks, but to belittle yourself in these eyes of Odinin?
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing, though these days I mainly use it for business. My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Your synapses flesh.
Okay, it is anti-centennial. I assure you they drove quite a hard bargain for this space, but you're right. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably bourgeois boat. Oh my, the E word.
Detective, may I remind you that...
Then what does that 33A? Yes. Anyway, oh my.
Detective,
Then what does that say? 33A? Yes. Anyway, good. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Son-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
need your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
Voila, you're doing it.
Of course. How much do you need?
She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she's letting on?
That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large.
She removes a few notes and hands them to you. The paper is cold and oily to the touch.
So, I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still.
You're right, ma'am, that donations are permitted under the Emergency Act, unseemly as it may be, as long as they are properly logged with the precinct.
Which he most certainly will do. Now, how else can I help the RCM today, besides supplementing its salaries? Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
No way. She's more. She can make decisions.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
An opening gambit, surely.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution. So I hoped. But this type of opening is usually followed by a more reasonable offer. I've yet to hear one. Just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyar at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike. This is a big deal for them.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the Union. Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
She's being sarcastic. Don't take her performance literally.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective? If I may ask. I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrog come to plead for work where the Union refuses to? If they were organised by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
'Twas stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame on them. Everyone knows you can't trust artists.
You mean someone stole your badge? I don't, in fact. I'm afraid what I need to tell you is wholly unrelated to art. I really need to discuss it, however, with the RCM, and I need your badge for that.
Unbelievable, sire. Even the performance artists didn't work. Everyone knows you can't trust artists. They're nearly as bad as clowns.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort. Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. That you convince yourself into colluding with her. Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible. Trust me, officer, I am fully committed to resolving this impasse. This isn't some side gig for me.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Lower intestine? The term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Brota. You're going to keep your vooz, right? Keep your vooz, Brota. There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines, knocking on your alcohol-engorged liver. It is one of betrayal and disappointment. Advanced race theory. Everything is calm in the eye of the race storm. Your mind is lucid and bright. The mind-bending phylogenetics appear more distant and, to be fair, a little ridiculous. The great race mystery has cleared up. All that's left to do is verbalize your thoughts. Go and talk to Measurehead about your newly found insights. Hey, psst, psst. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too? This conversation isn't really about love. Try to keep up, okay? This is about the communism you've promised to build. Word on the street is it's going to be 10,000 times larger than any communism previously attempted. Is that true? You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pockets, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Funky style, very funky. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder, or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready. Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance and, not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all. Yes. Knowing this does not really change our position, however. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching. Oh, That would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.